Well, I thank the chairman, and I'm proud to say this committee is considering the Financial Innovation and Technology, or the FIT Act for the 21st century. This is a major step in establishing a regulatory framework for digital assets here in the United States. Following the collapse of FTX, it was clear we needed Congress to act in order to protect consumers and establish clear rules of the road for good actors. Failing to act meant leaving American consumers and investors at risk and the American economy being less competitive. That's why I'd like to thank Chairman McHenry for prioritizing and leading on this important issue, and I'm pleased to lead this pioneering subcommittee with this mission. I also want to acknowledge the input we've received from so many stakeholders on Capitol Hill and beyond to craft this framework. This product is the result of countless hours of work by the members and staff on our committee and our exceptional partners on the House Agricultural Committee, led by G.T. Thompson and Dusty Johnson. But while this legislation is somewhat new, our work is not. And through the leadership of Ranking Member Waters and Chairman McHenry, this committee has held more than 10 hearings on digital assets over the last 2 Congresses. And in the past 7 months, we've heard from SEC Chair Gensler, CFTC Chair Benham, the CEO of the National Futures Association, and the COO of the New York Stock Exchange, legal experts, securities and commodity law experts, and various digital asset exchanges, broker-dealers, and developers. This work has culminated in the public release of our discussion draft back on June 2nd. We sought feedback, and it's been revised accordingly. This legislation before you today is based on feedback from market participants, the Biden administration, and members of this committee on both sides of the aisle. The Fit for the 21st Century Act provides the CFTC the jurisdiction over digital commodities and clarifies the SEC's remit over digital assets offered as a part of an investment contract. The Act not only builds on the SEC's current exemption regime for the offer and sale of certain digital assets, but it creates a disclosure regime and a process for the SEC to certify that a blockchain system is in fact decentralized. The Act also requires digital asset intermediaries to come under federal regulation by registering with the SEC and the CFTC, and establishes a robust consumer protection that do not currently exist for Americans. Let me assure my colleagues, this bill is filling the gaps in the existing system. The existing system does not work. It does not facilitate what we need in a fit-for-purpose system, and this bill does not allow commingling of customer funds or create any get-out-of-jail-free card during the designated provisional registration period for these enterprises. The provisional concept was a feature in Dodd-Frank for swap dealers and major swap participants, and you can't get away with things like fraud just by being provisionally registered. We've learned from that experience in Dodd-Frank. Contrary to some early assertions, this bill also does not create light touch regime for crypto crooks or prevent the SEC from being able to police this space. In fact, this legislation gives the SEC clear authority over digital assets that don't meet decentralization and functionality requirements that are considered to be considered a digital commodity. Consumer-facing protections are here. It gives the SEC rulemaking authority and retains its anti-fraud and manipulation powers. Finally, this bill is not a partisan effort to reshape securities and commodity laws in order to create a carve-out for digital assets. Quite the contrary. With Democrat and Republican input, it modifies and mirrors existing authorities, such as allowing for the registration of digital asset exchanges under the Alternative Trading System, or ATS. In fact, friends, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Chair Benham, market participants all agree there are regulatory gaps in the spot markets for digital assets. They're not securities, and they need to be fixed by legislation. So you see, we've made a good faith effort to address many of the concerns raised and worked on in this legislation in a collaborative way, and we welcome that engagement. Between the countless hearings, drafting sessions, and roundtables, there couldn't have been a more robust, engaged, transparent, or collaborative process. And while there are opportunities for us to work along the way, and we welcome amendments from our Democratic colleagues today because we want the best product that we can craft. As we move this bill out of committee, that work won't stop. We'll continue working with stakeholders, and there'll be plenty of input from members outside the committee as well. But make no mistake, today's markup is a major first step. And with that, I urge my colleagues to support this amendment in the nature of a substitute, and I yield back to the chair.